I'm on a rooftop in Gran Canaria in an Airbnb I'm staying in, and it's about 10:15 in the morning. It's about probably 20 degrees. It's a beautiful morning, but I think it's going to change. It's going to get cloudy. So I hope you feel sad for me, because I do want sun all the time, don't we all? But I know that sounds like a first world problem, but this time 2 years ago I was living in my car in Ireland. I still live in my car in Ireland, but I'm not in Ireland obviously at the moment. But I developed a sinus infection, chest infection. I had anemia, so I had no energy. I'd fall asleep in the afternoon. I had 10 verrucas over the heels of 2 feet. I had athlete's foot, and there was other things going on that I won't bore you with. But needless to say, I was in bits. And this was after many ayahuasca ceremonies, many holotropic breathwork ceremonies. I've meditated for 20 odd years, almost daily, done a lot of work. So you may see that as having been a problem, but it wasn't a problem. Now obviously at the time I thought it was. I didn't know what was going on, but with perspective I see that it was just another experience. It was not my identity, although at the time my ego completely attached to it and thought that, I'm not a man, I'm not successful, I haven't achieved, don't own my own home, all these kind of things. My relationship of about 10 years had ended. So my ego was scrambling for identity. And what I've learned from the experience really is that these are just experiences. They're not my identity. So 2 years ago around now, I had over a couple of days, they felt like visions, and I felt them. They really washed through me. And it was the awareness that I was going to die. I was going to die in that car. And I was going to die within, 2 or 3 days. So my health was really pretty bad, and didn't really know what to do. Cold, damp, probably not eating the best, all these kinds of things. But I was still doing my best. And in those moments, that I had, it wasn't just one, it happened about 3 times, that realization, I might die in this situation, at any moment. I realized that I needed to make peace with myself and this journey. And that's really where it all began. Now, it could have been 2 years ago, it could have been 3 years ago. To be honest with you, I can't actually remember. I have a terrible memory. But I began to sit with myself every evening, and I'd sit in the dark, in the cold, in the back of that car, and be present and witness all my shame and guilt and remorse and anger about how my life had supposedly turned out. And gradually learned or remembered how to just be with myself. Just to be present. Just to honour whatever feelings were being presented to me. And over the coming weeks, I began to heal. My health began to change. And I began to find peace and make peace with myself. So it's quite a shift, from being in that car in the snow, thinking I'm dying or possibly dying. And in a sense, I feel I was dying. And in a sense, I feel I was given that option of like, are you going to keep running? Or are you going to learn from this experience and accept? And that's really the intensity of those moments, that's what I had to do. So that's what I continue to do. And it was so beneficial for me. I wouldn't do anything differently. It wasn't a problem. You know, when you tell people these things, or they hear of someone, they think, oh my God, isn't that terrible? Or da, 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 da. But maybe it's not. Maybe it's important pieces, stages of one's trajectory. So if you look at the years before me being in the car, if you look at the years after me being in the car, and I don't mean these past 2-3 years, I mean the coming years or coming decades. And then if you expand out a bit further and you look at the lifetimes before being in the car, and maybe look at the lifetimes after being in the car, that being in the car and being broken down, and that took probably over 10 years. I was being broken down over 10 years. I was falling apart bit by bit by bit. Relationship, peace of mind, mental health, finances, physical health, broken down. And I was just resisting. Let go or be dragged. And I was dragged for over 10 years. I fought it tooth and nail. But those years were so important to my growth and expansion. They were essential. So now when I see people, you know, or courses or whatever, people trying to raise their vibration, manifest their new lives, all this kind of thing, for me, on my journey, it doesn't resonate. So I'm not saying it's wrong, but I am saying that it may be worthwhile to take a step back and witness yourself and see why you're trying to manifest or raise your vibration or be someone else or be someplace else or be something else or heal people. I'm here to heal people. I'm here to raise people up. I'm here to planet. We need to save the planet. All of this stuff. Look underneath and observe how you feel. And I'd be pretty sure, because I trust myself and my work at this point, that underneath all of that is a need to escape your own pain. So the sooner we can be present with our own pain, the sooner we get off the elevator. It can go lower and lower and lower and lower until we actually decide, no, I'm fucking ready. I'm going to be present. I'm going to get the message or the lesson. And the message in the lesson is not intellectual. It's nothing to figure out. It's nothing to understand. It's not what your life's purpose is. It's not what you're here to do. None of that stuff. It's simply a frequency. It's to witness how you feel. And there's great depth and expansion in that. So we're now moving into the totally unsexy spirituality. Undramatic, unexciting, unattractive. So as I'm here in the Canaries, I'm going to record another video about it in more detail, but really it's about the depth of presence. Often, you know, I receive calls from people that are consultation calls about my course or about my work. And I would ask them, you know, about presence or about witnessing or how they feel. And almost always the answers are from the mind. Things are going well or things are going terrible. It doesn't really matter. There's no check-in. There's no awareness. And even if there is a degree of awareness with how they feel and what's passing through them, it's very limited. It's like surface awareness. It's like, I feel in pain. I feel happy. I feel whatever. So when you've been in a relationship, or you've been with your children or your partner, and them with you, you know that the depth of presence that you both bring to those moments returns. There's a greater return in the more present and time you can give. If you just hold their hand or kiss them or tell them you love them or blah blah blah, great, it's better than punching them in the face. But there's also time that you can really be in your body, in the room, in the air, in the temperature, in their company, present. That's different. That develops. You can dive deeper and deeper and deeper, away from the mind and the analysis and the justification of the mind and the explanations of the mind. All these things are up for experimentation and testing. Don't fucking believe me. Don't take my word from it. Test it if you feel moved to, and see what's down there for you. So I'm 2-3 years exploring this depth of presence, and this is after 20 odd years of meditation. I feel I don't have a fucking clue. I'm barely scratching the surface. There's much more available here that I haven't tapped into yet, and that's why I keep going further, and that's why I want more presence, more depth, more focus, more stillness. Anyway, I've talked enough. Thanks for listening. I'll leave some links below, and if these videos benefit you, or my Instagram stuff, or any of that, I encourage you to make a donation to my PayPal account, and it can be the price of a magazine or a cup of coffee, anything simple. It's an exchange of energy. I'm communicating my experience, and maybe you benefit from it. So if you feel moved and you're grateful, donate £2, £3, something like that, whatever feels purposeful. Anyway, thanks for listening. Be well.